All right, here's the hidden secret path to get business credit quickly without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check in 2025. Look, there's a lot of false information online, a lot of fake news per se, and you don't want to get caught up in that. You want the fastest, easiest path to get the most amount of credit to be able to grow your business. You probably don't want to worry about pesky personal guarantees or credit checks. Well, it's easy to do if you have the secret path. The secret path is secret because only companies that have helped tens of thousands of business owners really know the true fastest path for you to get the results. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now during this training. You're going to find the hidden, proven path to be able to quickly build your business credit in 2025. We got a lot to cover, so let's dive in. Okay, so look, if you go the wrong path in business credit building, it will cost you a tremendous amount of time. And the wrong path is listening to anybody that has not helped tens of thousands of people through this process. Look, a lot of people might be trying to legitimately help you. Some might be legitimately trying to scam you. But you need to make sure that either way, you're only taking advice from somebody that's done this over and over and over a lot of times, because everybody's scenario is unique. So if you have like 50,000 business owners like we've helped at Credit Suite, well, we're able to take all those experiences and condense that to one hidden, proven path that can actually help you succeed. And here's the first step of that process. The first step is often overlooked and not advised on, which is build your foundation correctly. The number one thing that lenders are going to look at outside of SBA lenders, business credit sources, loans, credit lines, everybody's going to look at, especially business credit vendors, is the legitimacy of your business. How credible is your business? And they determine this by looking at basically foundational steps of your business. Do you have an entity set up, preferably an LLC or corporation? Does that business have a separate address, like a virtual office through a place like Alliance, Regis, or DaVinci, or is it in a real commercial building or retail location, not out of your home? Do you have a separate phone number for the business, not your mobile phone or your home phone? Do you have a website for the business, a license for the business, a separate bank account for the business, a professional email address for the business? These are basic foundational steps you've got to take, and most importantly, you've got to make sure that you know your industry NAICS code and that you choose a low-risk NAICS code. In doing so, now you'll meet a lot of the criteria that credit issuers have to start getting business credit quickly. Here's why this is so important. Look, as business owners, we just want to get the money. We want to skip the step. But the problem is that almost all of your denials happen because you messed this part up. So make sure that you go to creditsuite.com/foundation. There we have a step-by-step mini course that'll walk you through how to set up the proper foundation for your business and accomplish step one. And that brings me to step two. Now we need to get initial accounts reporting to the business credit reporting agencies. There's really two main ways to be able to do this. The first are called starter vendors, and it's one of my favorites because anybody can do it. They don't look at your personal credit quality. They give you credit without a personal guarantee. Even if you just launched your business today, you're able to get these starter vendors. These starter vendors are unique because first, they will actually give you credit even when you have none. They don't require that you have business credit established before they will actually approve you. And then secondly, they'll take the credit they give you and they'll report the payments to the business credit reporting agencies. Now, this is really important because over 90% of vendors do not report the payments to the business credit reporting agencies. Yes, a lot of vendors will give you credit, and no, a lot of them will not report the credit to the business credit reporting agencies, so that doesn't help you build business credit. So we need to use starter vendors that report the payments to the business credit reporting agencies and ones who will actually approve us even when we have no business credit. We could do this by using places like Granger or Uline, amongst others, to be able to get approved. Do you want access to even more starter vendors? Grab our step-by-step guide at creditsuite.com/EIN. Now, the other way to be able to build initial business credit is through a program called CLH, and you can get this at creditsuite.com/CLH. Now, with this program, you're able to get $50, $100, even $150,000 in funding for your business, even as a brand new startup. You're able to get it with 0% rates for up to 18 months, and a lot of these cards that you're getting report to the business credit reporting agencies. So with this kind of financing, you're going to a funding source that's ultimately getting you about 5 or more business credit cards at the same time. So this helps you get more funding. You get 0% rates. They can even help you take the cash out of those cards at 0%, which our real estate investor clients really love. And a lot of those cards report to the business credit reporting agencies, helping you establish initial business credit. So those are the two best paths to actually establish initial business credit. Oh, and one more thing regarding step number two. You've got to make sure that you get the credit, you use the credit, and you pay the bill on time. That is what establishes your business credit profile and score. Look, Dun & Bradstreet won't even give you a credit profile unless you have a DUNS number with them, which you should be getting in step 1 when you set up the foundation of your business, and you have 3 accounts reporting to them. If you don't have both those, you won't even have a credit report with Dun & Bradstreet. So you've got to make sure that you're getting credit that reports and you pay those bills on time. By doing so, that will give the vendor a credit history to actually report to the business credit reporting agencies. And that brings me to step number 3. Let's start getting some money. Step number 3, we're going to start getting credit with major vendors. Vendors are basically companies that will issue you credit to buy their products and services. They're basically retailers, right? Staples, Office Depot, Home Depot, Lowe's, Best Buy, Amazon, HP, Dell, Apple, you get the idea. Even Macy's and Nordstrom offer this kind of business credit without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. And when you have some accounts established on your initial business credit reports, now you can start to get approved for this kind of vendor credit. A lot of them will approve you initially with net terms, like net 30, which means you need to pay back whatever you borrow in 30 days. And the more you build out your credit profile with more vendor accounts, then you'll get to revolving credit, where you can get credit with almost all major retailers with $10,000 to $50,000 limits without personal guarantees and without personal credit check, and get revolving credit cards with those actual vendors. And that brings me to the next step, which is where you're actually going to start getting fleet credit. Now, fleet credit is where we're actually getting credit at fuel stations and repair and maintenance of vehicles. Look, if you're like me and work in an office, it doesn't matter. I don't have any fleet credit. But if you're in the transportation industry, well, this is a game changer, because you might spend $1,000 to be able to fill up one of your vehicles. So when you have a vehicle or a fleet of vehicles that needs maintenance, repairs, fuel, then these fuel cards are really, really helpful, and you can start to get them when you have about 5 accounts on your business credit reports. Then as you continue to build your business credit and have about 14 accounts on your business credit reports, now you can get to the final step of business credit building, where you can get auto financing with places like GM, Ford, Toyota, even Visa cards, MasterCards, which are called universal credit, and you can get all of it without a personal guarantee and credit check. So there are these steps to be able to build business credit. Let's talk about where you're going to fail, the most common reasons for denial. So the most common reasons for denial, 1, have to do with your foundation. You don't look legitimate. You don't look credible. Your business isn't truly separated from you. You've got to make sure you and your business are separated, and you've built that foundation by taking those foundational steps. That's essential. If you don't, it's one of the most common reasons you're going to get denied. The second most common reason you're getting denied is that you're applying for the wrong credit in the wrong order. Now, at Credit Suite, we call this tiering, and we actually involved a tiering system to tier the level of accounts you should apply for in what order. It changes all the time, so it's impossible to teach you on a video like this. If you want a DIY system or want to work with our coaches to do it for you using our software, then make sure you get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us at creditsuite.com. Now, if you're doing this on your own, you need to know that if you're applying and you're getting denied, either there's an issue with your foundation or you applied too early in the process. Let me give you an example. You might be able to get a Lowe's account with 5 accounts in your business credit reports, but Home Depot might require 7. So if I go to Home Depot with only 5 accounts, I get denied, but if I went to Lowe's, I'd get approved. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not able to come in and be able to get the Lowe's account that has 7 account requirement. It just means I need to add more accounts to my business credit reports to go and get that approval. That is what the tiering system means. Some vendors won't approve you until you have 2 accounts in your business credit reports, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have to make sure that you have the right amount of accounts to get approved. If you're not using software like what we have at Credit Suite, you're not using our team, well, then it's a little bit of trial and error. So you don't want to get frustrated. You just might want to know that if you get denied, you're applying for that account earlier than you should be, get other credit, use the credit, pay the bill, and then come back to that other account a month or 2 months later when you have more accounts in your business credit reports, and you'll typically get approved. All right, let's talk about timeline. A lot of business owners ask me, how long does this take? Well, realistically, you should build your foundation and get starter vendors the very first week of the process. Then, a month after you've paid those bills, then those accounts will actually report. Now you have an established business credit profile and score. 30 days into the process, now you can start getting those actual vendor accounts. Then you continue to get vendor credit and fleet credit through the process until you get to about 4 to 6 months where you should be at the end of the process. That means you're getting auto financing, universal credit, all types of business credit at this point without the personal guarantee and credit check. Now listen, warning, okay? This is the timeline of our clients. They're working with our coaches. They're working with our software. It may take you years to get there, but just know that's how quick you can do this, is get to the end of the business credit process in 6 months or less and start getting initial credit week 1 from starting the process. Next question, how much money can you get? Well, there's no limit. Business credit, you can get as much as you actually apply for. We have clients that have secured well over $1 million in business credit, and we've got clients that are happy only getting $50,000 or $100,000. How much you apply for is going to determine what you get, and there's no adverse consequences for applying for more credit. Unlike consumer credit where you're dinged for inquiries, that doesn't happen in the business world. So you can apply for 10 credit cards today, and it wouldn't actually harm you. So you're actually able to get kind of an unlimited amount of business credit because there's so many vendors out there that offer it, and you're able to get as much as you're actually applying for. So once you get momentum and you start to get approved and you start to be able to have more and more approvals, your business credit profile gets deeper, bigger, then you start to be able to get approved for almost any of the type of credit card you're applying for without personal guarantees and credit checks. Then the only limit is how much you're actually applying for. So the sky's the limit when it comes to business credit building, which is why I always say that just by building business credit, you give your business the ability for it to actually fund itself. So now that you built your business credit, now we want to make sure that it stays good and that it gets better to make it easier for us to get credit and financing. And we're going to do this by constantly monitoring our business credit. Now, if you need access to your business credit reports, you can get it at creditsuite.com/monitoring. Now, the second thing you want to do is you want to make sure you're always paying your bills on time or early. Remember, in the business world, you're considered late even if you're 1 day beyond terms. So you do not want to be considered late. You always want to make your payments on time or early because your business credit scores are primarily driven only on how you pay your bills. So the major scores that lenders and credit issuers look at are 80% to 100% driven just based on pay history. You have complete control. So make sure you're monitoring your business credit. Make sure you're paying your bills on time or early. Make sure you're using the credit that you're actually given. Don't get credit and not use it because it doesn't help you build business credit unless you're actually using it. And make sure that you are constantly building business credit. You are asking lenders, you are asking credit issuers, do they report your payments to business credit reporting agencies? And make sure you're applying for loans and credit cards and credit lines when you can that actually report. Look, if I'm given 3 different lenders that will approve me, I want the one that reports my payments to the business credit reporting agencies versus the 2 that might not. So always ask lenders and ask credit issuers, do they report timely, on-time payments to the business credit reporting agencies, and try to only work with lenders and get loans, credit lines, and credit cards from those that actually do. So there you have it. There's the fastest path to building business credit. I mean, this is the hidden path with all the secrets that I've learned by helping business owners through this process for over 12 years now and helping 50,000 business owners succeed. If you want our step-by-step mapped out process, you can easily grab it at creditsuite.com/EIN. So there you have it. Did you get value from this training? If so, make sure you smash the like button, make sure you subscribe, and keep your eye out for our next training. We talk about more cool ways to get the money you need to start and grow your business.